What's up guys, good afternoon and welcome back to Roma Theory. Nahuel Molina, Argentinian player coming from Atletico Madrid, is a Here We Go. The Here We Go came a few days ago. Actually, this is not fresh news, but I only had today to react to it, so I am going to react to it, of course. React to the cost, which I think has got a lot to react to, and then also kind of compare him to Chilik by giving advantages and disadvantages. I'm a bit mixed on this, but overall I understand this move and I approve it and I take it. And deep down, if I compare him to Chilik, it's an upgrade, and I'll try to explain why I think it's an upgrade in this video. But let me know your thoughts, first of all, in the live chat if you're watching live, or in the comments down below if you aren't watching live, on your thoughts on this. I want to know what people think. I want to know what people think on the player, but I also want to know what people think on the strategy that we adopted in abandoning the Feyenoord red player because Feyenoord were asking for a lot of money, and going for a cheaper option, which for some people might even be better than a way more expensive option, to then ideally save that money to spend in that left winger position, which I assume and I hope and I pray will be our next signing. And at the end of my reaction on Molina, I will also give a little opinion on that left wing position, on what is happening in that position and around that position, and the names and everything that has been linked with us. At the end of the video, we'll do that. But yeah, don't forget to hit the like. We're getting closer to the start of the season, guys. We are. We've got less than 20 days to go until our first game against Fiorentina at home. So if you're buzzing, of course, buckle up. We've got 2 more friendly games tomorrow against Brighton, and then Dortmund the 15th of August, which would be a good one. But yeah, okay. Hit the like, subscribe would be great, and let's get into this, because I think I've got quite a bit to say. First of all, well, the first thing which I react to is the cost, because of course he's a player that Atletico Madrid didn't want to keep. In fact, Atletico Madrid fans are quite happy that they got rid of him. We can't hide this. We're speaking about a player who, yes, is proven, because he's played at Atletico Madrid for the last 4 years, and Atletico Madrid have consistently been in the Champions League. So of course we're speaking about a player with a big level of experience, won the World Cup in 2022 as a starting right back in that team. But we also must say that Molina is coming from probably one of the worst combo of performances at such a high level that I think the football history has ever seen. Because the reason one of the reasons Argentina didn't win this World Cup, of course there are numerous reasons, but one of them is Molina in that marking Nico Williams, which then headbutts the ball in, and then Ferran Torres scores in the final. But that defending is shocking, and that same exact shocking defending came against England when they did win the game, but it wasn't an easy game for them when Gordon scored that goal. So already here we have a picture of a player who can't defend, who cannot defend. But there's a but, and I'm going to get onto the but in a second. This is a player who is only good at attacking. He's quite good at attacking, a player which scores bangers sometimes. A player which has got a good level of Italian football experience, played at Udinese, and his time at Udinese was very successful. He then moved to Atletico Madrid, started off better than how he finished. He's now a bit to rediscover, I would say. But the first thing that I look at is the cost. 13 million base plus 4 million add-ons. I've heard that 2 of these 4 million add-ons depend on us winning the league and us reaching the semi-finals of the Champions League. So 2 of these 4 are very hard to achieve, which could potentially put your overall money spent on this deal at 15 million. Now, maybe this is just me, But in 2026, signing players, especially, a proven player like him, who's won the World Cup, has got a good level of experience, signing a player like him by spending 50 million euros is absolutely nothing. In a market of football which is constantly and more inflated every single time, for me, whether he performs well or not, it's 15 million. And frankly speaking, I would much rather spend 15 million on him than 30 to 35 million, what Feyenoord was asking for Reed, whatever his name was. So if you put these two deals in front of me, just looking at the cost, I'm not looking at the player. Of course, you have to look at the player, but I'm just looking at the investment. I think spending 15 million on Nahuel Molina and thus keeping more money to put in that big investment up front in that left wing position, which needs to arrive, but it will arrive, compared to spending 30 to 35 million on a player which I knew nothing about. Yes, younger, yes, better future, probably, better long-term name, of course, but 30 to 35 million on such a player, I was very skeptical on. So for me, this is a much smarter move. Also connected to the fact that you need a big investment in that left wing position. And it's already complicated for us to get that left wing position. If we've got more money on it, it could probably become a bit easier. That's the way I see it. Now, speaking about the player, as I said before, the player can't defend. The player cannot defend even if you paid him to do so. He is shocking at defending. He's got levels of amnesia in defense, forgets his man marking, leaves players alone. The reason Ferran Torres scores that goal, it's because of Molina. The reason Anthony Gordon scores that goal is because of Molina. His capacity and his capability of defending in the box is extremely weak. And I mean extremely weak. But this is where the but comes in. Argentina play four at the back. Gasperini doesn't play four at the back. And where Molina has thrived the best in his career is not in a four-man defense, but in a more advanced position in that five midfielder playing extremely wide. And this is the position he would cover in this team because we don't play four at the back. Playing three centre-backs at the back allows for a player like Molina, who is forced to play in that wide fifth position, to relax in defense because that's not what he has to do, if you see my point. So I think this is the classic investment that in the system that we want to play in makes much more sense. It makes much more sense because he's so much better playing wide as a fifth than four at the back. And Argentina plays him as a right back, so playing in a four-man defense, and he can't do that. Also, having said this, as I said at the beginning, he's much better at attacking, scores goals. In terms of if you compare him to Çelik way better than him in that defensive position. In fact, Çelik played his best performances in a three-man defense, not wide as a fifth. Molina is the opposite. Can't defend, way better at attacking. I mean, but way better at attacking doesn't take a phenomenal player to be better than Çelik at attacking. I mean, 4 years, I've never seen Çelik put a cross in the box. So already moving forward in that offensive threat, he's much more threatening than Çelik. And I think if you ask this manager, would you rather have a fifth wide player who defends better but is not good at attacking, or attacks better and is not good at defending, Gasperini would pick this option because Gasperini plays like this. And that's another reason why Wesley plays on the other side. Wesley is another player who can't defend, but he's great when it comes to going forward. So this signing makes sense. And if I look at the amount of money that we spent on this signing, it makes even more sense. It makes even more sense, adding on the fact that he's very experienced, won a World Cup, has played in the Champions League consistently year in and year out in the last 5 years. This signing makes sense, and I'm not complaining about it. Again, I don't think Molina is a world-class player. I don't think he is. I think there are going to be games where Molina will, in a sense, make us curse all the possible saints in the sky. But at the same time, I feel like going forward, you can't be worse than Celik. I think nobody can be worse than Celik. And that is so much more important for the system that we want to play in, that it makes me say that this is an upgrade on Celik. Having said this, concluding, this is an upgrade on Celik for this exact reason. Because he will not be utilised in a three-man defence, which already means that you're going to be more useful than Celik. You know, had this been, we had to get a third defender, well, Celik was better. But Molina's not here to play in that position, as I said before. So, for me, this makes sense. For me, this signing makes sense. It's a cheap signing. It's a cheap investment. Well, look, it's a cheap signing, but it's not a cheap investment because he earns quite a bit. So I think the overall package of the investment won't be cheap. But you look at, you know, you've got a total budget, not counting salaries and wages. So if you can try and cover as much of your priorities with the least money possible out of this budget, then the more you can keep for that left winger position. Which brings me on to speak about the left wing position. And, you know, I'm like, what's going to happen in that left wing position? I personally think, also, Pellegrini signed his contract. So, like it or not, he's gonna be the replacement of that left wing position that we will need. And now the focus and the target is that. Who are we gonna sign? Because it feels like we're linked with everyone, but at the same time we're linked with no one, because we're in no advanced talks with anyone, but yet every single day I see us linked with every possible name. I don't want to speak about names at the moment, for the simple reason being that, as I just said, we've been linked with everyone, but we're close to no one. So it clearly means that either Roma doesn't know what to do, or it clearly means that they're trying to keep it hidden and don't repeat the same mistake as Somerville. They're trying to keep the name closed in a box so that you don't get the attention of other teams, which makes sense. But I also feel like moving forward, as time is ticking, there's this sort of paradox where it's like, would we rather spend 30, max 40 million now on somebody that we can get now? Or would you rather spend a bit more money in a few weeks where more opportunities open up and maybe we can get a few more sales and get a bit more money, and we will be in a position to spend more money for that left wing position in a few weeks? And I think this situation could be the scenario of why we're not signing anyone, because the board with the manager is kind of debating on what to do. Do we get somebody cheaper now, or do we try and wait a few weeks? New opportunities will open up and we will probably be able to spend a bit more money on that left wing position. Of course, there are pros and cons on both the two sides. One of them is the fact that if you wait longer, you could probably get a better player, but that player will have less time to adapt. On the other side, if you buy somebody now, it probably won't be the biggest of names, but you have him now and you can work with him in the second half of preseason. So this is not a decision that I will make. This is a decision which the board and the manager will probably make. What I think I personally, look, personally, I'd rather get somebody cheaper now, which probably won't be the best of names, but have him now, because I don't necessarily correlate the spending more money to signing better players. And I think the Malin picture, depicts this clearly. I don't think that spending more money is, directly proportional to signing a better player. I think that's absolutely stupid to say. I think if you've got footballing scouting abilities, you can get somebody for cheaper who could probably even be better than the 50, 60 million that you spend. I would only wait weeks if I have the certainty that I can get a player like a Leao or a potential Rashford. But if I need to wait 2 weeks and then end up with the same players as I can, or some of the same names that I can get now, then to me it makes no sense to wait. So unless waiting, I know for certain that if I wait a few weeks, I can get a Marcus Rashford, which won't be easy. But as I said before, those are only opportunities that will open up around deadline day. They won't open up now for a club like us. So I think the left wing position is a bit of a chess game at the moment. I move, they move. Do I remove? Do I offer more money? It's kind of like that, or do I wait for another player? So it's kind of like, but look, I understand that. Look, I'm the first one to say that it's a priority. It's been a priority for the past 2 years, basically. So I don't know. It will come. It will arrive, but I'm not that sure it's gonna happen tomorrow. I'm not that sure it's gonna happen. I'm not even that sure it's gonna happen this week. Because, as I said before, I see an element of decision making in the minds of the board, in like what I said. Do I spend less but get somebody now, or do I spend more and get somebody later on, when other opportunities open up? But again, as I said before, I don't make that decision, so I don't count. Paying twice the price for a younger Mexican is crazy. Argentinization of this club will lead us to dark days. Paying twice the price for a younger Mexican is crazy. What? I know, but Gasp should have just taken it. Gasp can't scout wingers. He wanted Sancho. Let D'Amico do the job and let Gasp focus on tactics, because they must get better this year. I mean, I'm not even going to answer to that. Can watch live, Simo. Just came to say good luck with your travels to Canada. I'll rewatch the video later. Yeah, no, don't worry, mate. Absolutely. Are you buying the kit? I'm not buying the kit, mate. I think the second kit is majestic. The one kit that got released yesterday is absolutely magical. I think it's one of the best kits of the last period. But no, I'm not gonna buy it. I don't buy kits much often in these last years, because I think like, say, my age, you want to save. Yeah, if you're my age, the money that you want to spend on is traveling with friends. So you gotta make decisions and not buy and make these purchases. These are the purchases you have to cut if you eventually want to save money. So I don't think I'm gonna get it, but it is great. It's a very good kit. Good luck for Canada too. I think you're leaving. Yeah, I'm leaving the 24th. I'm leaving on the day of our game. I can't even, well, I'll probably watch the game, but I'm leaving on the day of the first game. Excited, a bit nervous, but excited. But yeah. Who are we going to sign as left winger? Are there any rumors right now? There are rumors every day. I'm satisfied with this transfer if we buy a good left winger. L'Oriente is a very good chance. Daje de Testa. What do you think about Iliman and Di? Good player. Definitely a good player. How was Bucharest? Bucharest was great, mate. A lot of fun. Good city. Nice city. We had a lot of fun. We stayed there like 48 hours, but we had so much fun. And it was so cheap. Like, you're not used to those prices. Like, we got like 8 beers for like €8, which is absolutely crazy. But me and my friends love those random few days in random cities. So we'll definitely do more. But to do more, you have to save. And when you have to save money, you have to cut purchases like Roma kits, even though you need to accept that it's a very good kit. The second kit is such a good kit. I'm very excited for the third one because apparently it's black. But I think the first kit is nice, but apart from the new logo, it's quite similar to last year. So I would definitely not spend my money on that. If I had to spend my money on a kit, it'd definitely be the second one this year. But I won't do. I won't do it. Okay, guys, we're playing a friendly game tomorrow. I'm not sure if I'm going to react to it. But I'll speak to you soon. Again, that left winger will eventually need to happen. Whenever it happens, it happens. We can't control it, but it will eventually need to happen. Come to Tirana, definitely on the bucket list. Shade is good too, says Leon. So I'll catch you soon. Hit the like, subscribe, and I'll talk to you very soon. See you out.